you guys. Alright, so I took a little nap after I got home and I did not start working on this card as quickly as I wanted to, but I'm about to do it now. So as I showed earlier, I busted out my Stampin' Up! Poinsettia dies from the Poinsettia bundle, Poinsettia Suite, and these are just so darn cute. And I made these awesome black poinsettias, which I was going to use for something else, and now I'm going to use on a Halloween card. And there's the Gina K house and my striped background that I created myself. And then we still haven't figured out if this is Smear Merlot or Cherry Cobbler. So, Alright, so what I did is I broke out my hex chart so I can figure out what colors that I wanted to use to color this Gina K barn, which we're going to make into an old decrepit barn. And I decided to actually, let me zoom in a little bit. I decided to go with the warm tones for the grays just because I felt like that would meld better with the black and with the colors that I have here for the other elements of the card. Okay, and I stamped this twice because it is always better to have two. Sorry, it's always better to have two images instead of one, you know, just in case. And fingers crossed, I'm actually going to do something I haven't done in a long time, which involves, let's see here, these blending brushes. I know. And you guys are probably like, wait a second, don't you have the Tailored Expressions blender brushes? Yes. And don't you have like regular Amazon brushes that are cheaper? Yes. And here is my Copic box. So I went through my Copics to grab all of my W's. I already had some of my C's out and a couple others are missing just because I was working on another project. So I selected the Copics that I wanted to use based off my color chart, and I'm about to go ahead and see if what I have in my head is going to come out on paper. Okay, so what I decided to do, well, I already started. I decided to start coloring. I used my W7 to kind of go over the stamping lines, and although they're already dark, I just wanted to have that extra contrast there. Then I took my W6 and just went over that, and now I'm going to go over my W7 after it dries a little bit to give it more of a pop. So hopefully once I finish this whole image, it kind of looks like what I'm picturing in my head, but it's kind of weird because with coloring I really don't have like an idea of how something's supposed to look, quote unquote, or how it's going to look, because I'm still new to all this jazz. But that is what I am doing, and I'm actually on the phone with someone right now, so that's why I'm not recording this in real time while I'm coloring, but I will definitely do some coloring videos soon. So, one moment. All right, so this yellow on this is new. I decided to come on and show you guys while I'm doing it, also for my benefit, so I don't forget. What I actually did was I had this whole thing colored in my two Copics, my W7 and my W6, and I had my window here colored with W5 because I wanted it to be light, but then it struck me, oh my gosh, that's a darn window. Why do I have that colored gray? I'm like, oh, that would look really cool black, but it would just be too much darkness. So what I ended up doing was using my colorless blender here to remove the gray, like push it out in every direction so it can seep out into the sides here, which as you can tell isn't an issue. So I'm also doing the same here. You see how that's kind of like wet and a little muddled? Well, I used a colorless blender to push out this gray color. It was actually this color here. I'm pushing it out and now I'm letting it dry before I hit it with my two Y's to get this dark haunted barn is actually like illuminated. And I like the look. The only thing I'm kind of like second guessing is it going to go with my Halloween colors? But when I put everything together, I think, like looking at my spread here, it'll be fine. But that was not something I did before. I was like, hey, I need to have the inside of that illuminated. But I absolutely love it. I think it looks so gorgeous. Anyhow, this here looks like it's a horse stable, like an opening for horses, like their heads should pop out here. So I'm going to lighten that up so I can change the color. So I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see. When you're working with a Copic image, you want to make sure you have a sheet of paper or something down, because the paper needs to be saturated, which means there's a chance of bleeding. When you use Copic markers, you need the saturation in order for the colors to blend effortlessly, which means the colors could seep out and you don't want to have your surface underneath affected. Okay, on to what I'm doing. And I did not do the trim yet. I'm still kind of like trying to figure out what color I'm gonna do that trim there. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the tip of my blender pen, and you're going to see this here change because I'm going to push this color out. I'm evicting this color. Like, I do not want it. I want it out. And like I said before, I am new to, you know, really trying to Copic color. So all these tips and tricks and things I'm doing, like all of this is new. So I'm just going to take the tip of this and just run it off on my paper here, and you can see a little bit of that gray show up. And I'm going to continue pushing this color out of this box. So yeah, I'm new to all this, but I'm just, you know, trying things as I go. Again, that's the one thing about crafting. You have to be willing to experiment to get things done. Okay, so what you probably notice is I have a little bit of bleeding here, and that bleeding is actually from this ink. I did stamp this in, normally I use Memento, but I used Gina K's black ink. I don't know why, I just wanted to try, I mean, I bought it, so I wanted to try it out. So I haven't had any problems with Memento bleeding. And literally I'm scrubbing pretty hard. Well, not scrubbing, but I'm pushing pretty hard to get this ink color out so that I can have this kind of light. So that's probably why this ink is bleeding. And, you know, it's, you know, it's okay. Oh, you see that? So this spot here is from this window. I applied so much pressure. I applied so much color that it's now staining. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to let that dry. And it's kind of light enough. It's almost as light as this here, to where hopefully when I put down the yellows, it'll be fine. When I make cards, I really try my hardest to not have to, I try my hardest to fix things to get it to be how I want it to be, so I don't have to start from scratch. And I think that's one of the things I really like about making cards and creating, is it helps you, I mean, you're kind of critically thinking, because it's like, oh no, I have this issue. I need to do this. What are my options? And that's how nursing is. Nursing is like, you have a series of problems pop up and you have to use your knowledge to figure out a best way to fix something. And I think I just, you know, apply that same logic to cards, except it makes me happy. And I'm not worried about anyone passing, which is, yeah, stressful. All right, I'm gonna finish this up. I'll be back. Okay, so this is dry now. So I'm going to take my, let's see, I don't know why I want to say W. My darkest yellow and flick out. So I'm just following. I love the sketching on this. It looks so nice. So I just did a little bit of flicking here with the darkest yellow, the darkest Y, and I'm going to take the lighter color, flip my image around. There's another Copic tip for you. When coloring, move your image. It's something I wasn't doing for the longest, and it helps dramatically. And I'm just going to flick the lightest color here up into the dark, just to get the two to meld a little bit. And ta-da, there we go. Okay, and that is looking pretty eerie. I love it. Alrighty, and now I'm going to see, hopefully it's dry. Man, I got some ink on my fingers. Jeez. Hazards of card making. Alright, so now I'm going to flick down. Now this one's kind of dark, and because the ink also started bleeding, I don't know. Fingers crossed. Got this light yellow. So it's a little dark looking, but oh yeah, and see my tip picked up the black. The tip of my Copic picked up the black ink too, which means that it was still just kind of resting a little bit. But it doesn't look terrible. It's a little dark, kind of muddly, but I think I'm gonna leave it. I think I'm gonna leave it. Nah, geez, it looks so different from this one. The little horse stable, the horses are sleeping, so it can be a little darker there with some encouragement. What I want to do is actually have this barn have a white trim like it already has. I was going to color it black, as you can see here, but once I did that, I'm like, and I didn't even use a super dark black. I just used W9, and I'm like, okay, that's just too, it just like makes the whole house look engulfed with darkness, which is what I want, but not what I want. So I decided that the trim for this house is going to just be a white trim, which is super nice, which I don't think you actually see on like real barns that are this dilapidated. But I'm going to take my white gel pen here and actually have like a couple white alternatives that I use. This here, I don't even know the name of this, but most people use this when they make snow. But I just did my little white gel pen on this spot here, and it looks okay. So I'm going to go through just to make these lines a little more sharper and go back over this mistake that I made. Woohoo! Thinking on my feet, you guys. And we'll continue the card. White trim is done, and I actually think it looks really nice. And yes, again, let's suspend disbelief here. Who knows? If I build a barn in real life, I'll make sure it has white trim. Okay? All right, so on to what I want to do, which is I'm going to cut this out with a die so I can fit it on my card. I'm going to figure out my layout, and then hopefully I can use my blender brush. All right, so now I took my smallest poinsettia die from here, and I'm going to place it on some black cardstock and just cut out a bunch of additional poinsettia leaves, holly leaves, so I can have them for the wreath that I'm going to do. And I think I'm going to give them some texture, like bend them and whatnot, just to make them look a little aged, but not as far as color. Ooh, you know what? That might look good if I go over this with a little black too. Thinking outside the box, but I'm already like past the time I said I would craft till. So now my goal is to go to bed at midnight. Alrighty. So this here is my origami table. I got this at HSN like 6 years ago. So I have my Brother Scan and Cut here, my little ink minis, my Creative Station, which I use primarily for stickers, my Gemini Junior, which I love. I'm so glad I invested in that. This is actually where I sit my boards when I'm not cutting, just put them here in the middle. And it has 3 drawers, which is pretty cool. I just put like miscellaneous things in these. This bottom one here is full of my punches. I just really lay things around top, as you can see, but this is where I store my punches. And this drawer here is full of art impression stamp sets. It's like, just grab a handful of those. And this drawer has my stencils and my buttons. I say buttons, it's buttons. And what is this? My brad maker. And then I have my shelves with my lots of stamps over there. Lots of stamps. Anyways, we're going to, I need to run this through. Alrighty, you guys, so I went and used my smallest poinsettia holly leaf die from the Poinsettia die collection, and I just made a couple more leaves. They're just so cute. I'm so glad that I did it in black. Like, thinking of this for a Halloween card. Honestly, I really don't even know where that came from. I feel like a genius. You know when you try something and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so smart. That's how I feel. And of course, we're saving the trees. So I'm gonna save this piece of cardstock for later. And now I'm going to figure out how I'm going to put this together. So this here is how I store my distress oxides. I know I was too lazy to take that tag off, but I pretty much have like 5 of these, and I keep my oxides, and then if I want to travel with them, you know, I have a different container, but this is just what I use right now. So I'm going to take out, I'm going to use black soot, mustard seed, maybe scattered straw, possibly. I think I'm going to use all 3 of these, but I definitely want to use one for this card. And the extra image that I had stamped out, I'm going to actually turn this into a mask so that when I do my ink blending on the page, I don't have any of this oxide ink that gets on my image that I worked like super hard on, because that would be a shame. Okay, so I did not get to finish my card last night, so I'm about to finish it now. I have 40 minutes. I'm still having a bit of a conundrum with this here and blending, so I just tried using my blending tools here, and I'm not 100% sure if I like, I think I just need more practice here. I'm so used to using these brushes. I think that's like my preferred tool. So what I'm going to do is just use my brushes. I'm actually going to give this a clean just because I want to make sure the scattered straw yellow is all that really pops up. All right. And this is just like a little test run. Because for some reason, I really want to ink blend on this card. I think it'll look nice. And hopefully not ruin it. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so I did the test strip. Shrug. I'm going to put this down, and I was not even going for this shape. This actually came out like this just because I used my circle die to cut this out. You know, just one of my, I think this might be from my favorite things. I used the circle die here, but as you saw, my house was not on a very large sheet of paper. So when I went to run it through my Gemini, and this was the size I used, it made it kind of look like a snow globe a little bit. But you know, what is it? We're crafters, we make things work. Okay, so because I just want a straight line across the bottom, do I want a straight line? Do I want a little jagged? It can be straight, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna overthink this because I don't have that much time. And as you saw in previous videos, I should not spend forever trying to do things. So I'm just taking a Post-it note. Actually, first I'm going to tape with some painter's tape, tape my image to my desk, my glass mat, so it does not move while I'm blending. One bonus about this glass mat is the measuring lines on it. Okay, so now it's not going to be completely straight because this house is a little lopsided, and that's fine. But I'm just going to follow the line here. Yeah, I'll just follow it here. Should I just line this up? Actually, I should line this house up with a line for the house, because I think that'll work better. down. If it's a little off, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's fine. It's just crafting. Gotta remind myself of that. It's just crafting. It's okay. See, I feel like this house being lopsided makes me think I'm lopsided. Drives me nuts. Okay, so I'm going to do that to get the line. But I need to mask my house because I don't want my house to have this on it. So I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut this out. I really want to use this for something else, but I can restamp. It's fine. The grass can actually have some ink on it, so that's going to be all right. Sorry if I'm whispering this morning, you guys. So I'm just creating a mask for my house for the ink blending. I'm so glad I got this stamp set. It's so cute. It's adorable, and I've never played with it before. And I'm really glad that I'm venturing out and getting inky with all of these things that I purchased with all intentions of getting inky with. Because what's the point of having things if you can't play with them? I need to get better at my blending tools though. Like, I'm good with my brushes. And you know what? Some of that black can actually get on the house. So I think I'm just gonna cut this more straight. Okay. I hate all that excess paper. Come on. And hopefully what I'm hoping for is that my house doesn't look too, the card doesn't look too bland monochromatic, because I tend to only use one main color and then everything else is like a supportive neutral for my cards. But because I'm also doing ink blending, I'm like, man, that's a lot of color. Like, hopefully that looks okay. So hopefully it looks all right. And I'm really going to try to get this card done. So, and I already foresee problems with this layout. I was actually thinking about it before I went to bed. Fudge cake, what am I doing? There we go. So I'm probably going to try not to talk too much, especially since I sound kind of froggy right now. Usually my 35-minute drive to work helps wake me up a little. Okay, so to make this actually stick, all I'm going to do is use some, oh no, I'm not going to use that tape because I don't want to ruin my image. What am I going to do? Will that ruin it? You know, because I have the Post-it note down, I think my image is going to be okay. Zoom in a little bit. I think my image will be okay, because when I go to put this down, okay. Actually, I can just tape the top and that'll be fine. It's not gonna, just use this here. This up a little. Okay, that's good. Because I'm using the Post-it note, it'll keep it in place. Okay. See, did move a bit. It looks so lopsided. It's killing me. It's killing me. Let's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I mean, and that's straight, so it's just kind of a lopsided house. It's just driving me nuts a little bit, but all right, anyways, I need to just do. All right, so I'm going to load up my brush, and I'm going to start off of the paper and blend onto the paper. So nervous. I'm like, I hope I'm not ruining this. And because this brush has the bristles, it's actually getting up into this image here, into the line where the mask meets. So I can have a full coverage type thing, type deal. I've never done this before. I am like so incredibly stoked. You guys have no idea. So stoked. This actually looks really pretty the more I look at it. Oh, come on. Flip that over. Remember, start off the paper, brush a little, and then slowly go onto the paper with even pressure. Okay. I'm going to do that once more because this looks a little dark. So off, on, all right, I think, hopefully that looks good on camera. It looks in person. Right here is looking a little light. Just gonna blend, 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 brush, brush, brush. Okay, big reveal time. It's not bad. I am going to go over the black here though, because the oxide pretty much made it look very, what's the word? Faded to hell. All right, let's see. Let me clean off my desk because I can't have an ink anywhere. You can't do anything. I can't place my hand where I want to place it and all that jazz. Okay, trying to figure out which multi-liner and pen I should use. Okay, I'm using my Faber-Castell marker. To just go back over the black areas. Because I thought they would look cool covered, but now I'm just like, yeah, I don't know about that. This is, so then I need a little thicker tip. I could do this later. Just some of these. I went back to the thinner tip just so I can be more precise when I'm going over the stamped. image. So while I'm doing this for a couple minutes, I guess I'll talk about why do I create before I go to work. I try to make it my goal to create before or after I get out of work, just because like I want to have that me time. I want to do something that I like, that helps me use a different portion of my brain. And I know sometimes making cards can feel very like defeating, especially if you don't get done, one, the card, two, you don't get what you think you want to do done. But there's still something about doing something for you that brings you joy, playing with things that you like. That's fun. And just having that time before work just helps to put you in a good mood. Now, not finishing a card doesn't really put you in a good mood. That sucks, but you know, what can you do? Just try harder. All right, there. So I think me doing the added black here to bring this out helped. And a part of me also wants to go over like the really dark, the stamped area on this barn to make that black pop more. And I don't even want to attempt it at the moment because one, it's going to take a minute, and two, I'm kind of, I don't mean to say I'm being lazy, but I'm kind of being lazy and I don't want to do it. So now what I'm going to do is do the back in black. And hopefully it looks how I'm picturing in my head. Hopefully. I just need to line this up here. Okay. Bada boom, bada bing. Fudge. Fudge. Sorry, can't sing. Okay. Let's do this. And take my Amazon blending brush, load that up. I actually think this black is almost out, and barely used it, so that kind of sucks. Sorry, I did just attack straight on the paper. And this is my first time using black to blend. So yay for first. It's great. And I don't know if I want to do like a moon. If I do the moon, it'll be added. It'll just be some added thing. Again, I'm using those bristles to get inside of where this meets. And I don't know why when I blend, I tend to do this like in and out thing. I blend in and then I like blend out. I blend in and then I blend out. Trying to get some of this ink from the side here. I'm like, that's money. I need that. Almost done. Again, fingers crossed. And I'm not passing out like Halloween cards to anyone. I'm just making this just because I do like Halloween. I really do. I think it's a It's fun. It's fun to dress up, all that jazz. I just don't do anything. I actually like how the barn has the darkness on it. All right, big moment. You know, let's see here. Right here looked a little white. And you got to remember that this is going to come out. It looks cool. I like it. Only problem is that line. So I'm gonna fix that. Move this down. This is, yeah, the untraditional way to fix stuff. Gonna do it anyways. So I'm just gonna blend from the house and blend that in, which sucks just because now I have to worry about, I don't want to overload my whole card with ink, but looks like the diesel. I'm just gonna work this out so that it looks normal, hopefully. Come on. Oh, look at that. Perfect. So yeah, just move your mask a little bit if you missed a section and try to get in there. And I'm really just trying to focus on the bristles in the front, so I can just fill in that area and not do too much to the overall card. Okay, and I'm just gonna, shucks, just blend that out. All right, there we go. So it's a weirdish, a little bit two-tone effect. Kind of wondering if I should push the colors so that they blend together, but this is fine. Yeah, I think it's okay. Is it what I had in my mind? Kind of. Again, it's so different to craft and see ink and things on paper because it's just different. And it's actually gonna oxidize also. I don't know what I'm gonna do now. I don't know. I don't know if I still want to do this like I was planning. I think I have a little, I have a stamp with grass on it, which I need to find because I think I do want to make this look like grass here. Just, you know, burnt, dilapidated grass. Let's clean off my brush. What do you know? I have 15 minutes. Bah humbug. And I have to work 16 hours today, so I am not going to get to craft tonight. But that's okay. I mean, no, it's not. It's not okay. But I don't really have a choice. Let's see here. So I think my original idea of using this black and white strip, I'm just going to toss that because I feel like I have a lot going on here and I don't think that this is going to be beneficial whatsoever. I need to cut out some more of these, and I'm actually going to cut a piece of cardstock to fit the back of here so I can think more clearly. It's so weird. I started off thinking that I was going to use this color with this card, but it's just not working right now. Let me go find that other stamp. All right, so I found two stamp sets that I have. LDRS, Little Darling Rubber Stamps. Amazing, really cool company. I love the stamps, they're so cute. I did a little haul earlier this year and bought a lot of them, and I actually just got the Christmas stamps. I'm waiting for those to come in the mail. But again, this is uninked. And what do I want from this stamp set? This grass. So I was looking and I'm like, I think this grass would work. But I'm looking at how this image is colored and that grass might be too much. So not going to use that. And then this is my Art Impressions stamp. I love Art Impressions. Oh, I pretty much own, like, do I own almost every stamp? Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Anyhow, so this foliage set here, this grass might actually work with this. So something you guys should know is that when I purchase stamp sets, I usually try to make sure I'm purchasing things that have like the same style and design, because I like my stamps to be interchangeable. Now the only thing with this that I'm wondering is if this grass is going to be too big, unless I have to make my own sprigs of grass. Because I feel like it should be short. Does that make sense? And I feel like that background I made for the house should have, like, I feel like there should be grass here, there should be bats there, I should have like a moon hanging out over here a little bit. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of like a scene builder. Why do I have to go to work? I just want to create. I don't. All I want to do is create. Okay, so what I'm hoping for is that I am not ruining all this hard work by putting this grass down, because I will be like, I'll be so upset. Which is kind of why I'm like stamping off to the side a little bit. And I'm not an artist, so just to like add flicks of grass, that's like not my thing. I can't do that. So if I was to add this grass, I would like need a continuation. Jeepers, I might have to do this by hand to get the look that I want. Even though I'd rather just stamp repeatedly all over, but if I do use the stamp like I want to, I would basically have to like cover all of this with this grass, because it would look a little awkward to just have like one stamp here and one stamp there. Just a little, I don't know, maybe I should just leave it. You know, I'm just gonna leave it, but I will try this with another image. I'll stamp the image and then I'll have the grass and then I'll see how it looks, just because I really don't want to have to restart with this, because if I mess this grass up, all that ink blending was for naught, coloring that house was for naught. And you guys know we're not doing that. I don't want to be in a bad mood before I go to work. Well, that could have been a mess. We would have fixed it. Anyhow, so yeah, when I buy stamp sets, I really want my stamps and designs to be used interchangeably. So I try to look for that when I purchase things. We don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. Okay, so that was a bust. Just because I'm scared. On this card for 3 days now. Today makes day 3. But I've only worked on it so far for like a total of an hour and maybe 20 minutes. Because I was trying to do something at night. And then I was trying to do something in the morning. And I just didn't, you know, I was going to work. And I just didn't have enough time. And I didn't get to work on this card at all on Thursday because I worked a 16-hour shift. So after work, I didn't have time. And Friday morning before work, obviously, I was not doing anything. I was just, you know, recuperating. So it is Saturday, day 1 of my 3 days off. I'm super excited, but it is 5 p.m. And all right, I'm just now, you know, getting my mojo for the day. So here we go. So my original card layout for this was to use the dies. I don't know why I moved those over. Was to use the die here from the holly die from the suite. And this is what I had in my mind originally when I first thought of this card, because I had these pieces off to the side. And I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself when I put these videos together, just because I don't really know what all I did actually say. So I wanted to create like a wreath with these die pieces, and that's why I cut out more. But, and again, I didn't go to art school or anything like that, but I feel like these pieces, now that I've done what I had in my mind, are too big, which is a little sad. So I was actually at work, I'm like thinking about this card. I actually take pictures of what I'm working on, and throughout the day I like look and take notes and think like, oh, how can I tweak this to do this, this? Because yeah, once art school starts, what is time? What is life? I won't have one. I will not be able to do all of this. And that's a video that I'm going to make soon. I am going back to school. I'm so super excited. I'm going to go from my LPN to my RN, and I'm just so stoked because it's free. Like, I'm so excited. I just feel so incredibly lucky, and like the last just 2 years have just been crazy. Like it's been a roller coaster, ups and downs, but I'm so glad that I'm going on an upward trajectory with my life and my career, and just like working on me, you know, throughout all of that. Like, this is all me. This is no one else. This is just me. And I mean, that's also how I feel about crafting. I've also enhanced, you know, how I make cards and gotten stable and all that jazz. All right. So anyhow, so once I did this card, you know, this rough draft, I'm like, okay, these holly leaves are just too big for this house, and this background, like, it's not, the ratio is off. So looking at my set here, I've decided that I'm going to use this here, and I have not done this yet. So like I said, I'm doing this in real time. All of my hemming and hawing and experimenting is done right along with you guys. So I'm going to use this smaller poinsettia, and no, it's not the leaf that I originally wanted to use, but I think that I'm going to get the size that I want, And yes, it's going to take a ton of these to make the wreath, but the good thing is there are 5 points to this poinsettia. So hopefully what I'm thinking in my head will come out right. And I'm also listening to music right now because I just, you know, I just need to. And due to copyright issues and all of that jazz, I'm just going to do all this off camera, but I will come back on to show you what the finishing result is. So I'm just going to take, jeepers. And again, I need to replace this magnetic plate. It's so warped and bent. Take the holly die and take a black piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to cut a lot of these out so I can replace these leaves around my masterpiece. I mean, we're artists, right? We're artists, card makers, we're artists. We got to give ourselves credit. I need to remind myself that I'm creating something someone else hasn't created. And even if it's casing something, which this is not, but even if you're casing, you're still making something. I had to change some things. So while I was die cutting these 2 small poinsettias here, I ended up realizing I did not like how they looked on my background here. Well, I don't need to zoom in. But anyways, I didn't like how it looked. It was just too... It was too different from the look I was going for here. And when I cut the leaves, yes, I did go through and use my precise scissors. Make sure you have a pair of precise small scissors, because super useful. Actually, I have like tons of different scissors. I have like large, medium. I have like multiples of everything, you guys, like seriously. Just make sure you have yeah, different types of scissors for different things. But when I went to cut those and then I separated the leaves for the card, it was just like, okay, 1, this is going to take forever. 2, I did not like the look. And I'll show you. I'll put some of these on the card so you can see. It was just like too small. I'm like, I need something a little bit larger to make this more frame-like. So I ended up looking back at the poinsettia set, Sweet, and I ended up choosing... jeepers, where'd that die go? I chose this die, and then I tried it with this one, and you know, with this outline, and I was like, oh, I don't really like how that looks either. Shucks, what's going on? What's in my head is not, yeah, it's not manifesting. It's not happening. So I'm like, okay, let me just continue to go through this die set and try something else. Like, something has to work. This skeleton piece is killing me. Okay, there we go. Oh, another thing, please be careful when you take this out. I actually grabbed this from the edge and then it bent a little, but look how thin and delicate this die is. You definitely want to be careful taking it out. So what I did was I ended up using, oh, jeepers, Kelly, it's killing me. How does this go in? Okay, there we go. I ended up using my little brush here, the pointed tip, and I just popped it up from the middle so that I wouldn't bend any of these really thin edges. So then I decided to use this die here, which I'll show you. And I did do the outline, and I was like, okay, this looks decent. This might work. It's not the holly leaf, you know, I'm all about the holly leaves right now. It's not the holly leaf, but I'm like, okay, I can cut it and make it look like little leaves, you know, just use the petals as leaves and get the look I want. So here is a lot of the leaves cut and scattered around the card, and I like the look. For some reason, I keep thinking about crows. I mean, it's a Halloween card. When I think of Halloween, I think of crows. I think of black and I think of crows, and I think of haunted houses, which is probably why the first Halloween card I made is this card, and it's a house. But anyhow, I don't know, it would be really cool to have like little crows like circling about this, but the only crows I have are from a hero art set, and I don't know if they're small enough, and I like things in multiple directions, and since I only have one, yeah, anyways, I was like, I'm not even gonna attempt that. I started with the whole holly leaf. I was like, okay, let me try that, and now I moved on to the poinsettia, and now I'm using the poinsettia petals. Are these petals? Poinsettia petals? Yeah, I don't grow things. I mean, I did have a garden, but anyhow, I'll stop talking about other stuff. So I do like this look. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do the background. and then I will go ahead and just fix everything to the card. So now we just need to figure out the layout, because right now this isn't it. So just make sure you guys experiment with your die sets. Try to use things outside of what they're originally intended for. And because I believe I'm going to have at least one, obviously I'm going to have all these scraps here. It's going to help me make another card, so I can again stretch my creativity with how to use this wonderful set. I mean, when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. I have so many ideas running through my head. And honestly, this was not one of those ideas. I didn't think about using it as a wreath, but I'm really happy that I basically went through and ran everything through and gave it a nice try. So experiment. I mean, these things cost enough, you know. All right, I'm not going to take forever to put this on. So this is how I cut the poinsettias to make what I need for my card. Zoom in a little bit. Okay. This one I die cut on purpose off the paper because I wanted to use my cardstock. I'm all about saving money. So we're not going to use that one, but all I'm doing is going in and I'm following this beveled edge here, and I'm just cutting it towards this middle here. And I'm just going to curve it a little and round it. Believe me, I go a little faster than this. So it looks, you know, so it looks okay. Oops, sorry. See? So that's not bad. And then I just throw it down. Let's see. I'm probably gonna do one more whole poinsettia for the card, just to fill in the gaps. Like, I don't want any gaps. I want it to look like a wreath, just a wreath of darkness. I want it to be engulfed. And I will, you know, tuck the edges and all that jazz so that it looks, I don't think cohesive is the right word, but uniform. And I do, like I said, I do have some extras that I die cut, and I will use those for a different card. Get my creative juices going. Hopefully I can make another card tonight. That'll be really nice. I'm just kind of tired of sitting in my chair, honestly. Like my full-time job, I sit, and then my part-time job, I stand and run around like a crazy person. So I'm just a bit tired of sitting. I need to do some squats. I think I'll just get up and do some squats. I haven't trained today, so that's probably what it is. And is that enough, or will I have to? So I'm spreading these out. Jeepers. Okay, I'll cut one more just in case. I think that's enough, but yeah, that's some minnows. It's fine. I think that'll be fine. Layout time. I'm always doing something. Okay, so this is a draft of how my card's gonna look, and I decided to try my hand at making these little, I don't even know what you would call these. So this here was a part of the image, and it looks like grass. It doesn't really look like a shadow, it just looks like grass. And because I want to create the illusion of dead grass, and that's why I like that I use scattered straw, just to make this barn look a little more eerie, I went ahead and I added a couple extra lines, and now that that dried, I used my Copic Mott's Liner. I think that looks decent, so I'm going to continue throughout with the lines for this field, just to give it more oomph, because I feel like this Distress Oxide, it's so stark, which I love. I just need more detail, because I feel like the background, although it's a Distress Oxide, like, although I put something there, it still just looks very vacant. So I want to fill that vacancy. And if I can at least do it down here, I think that I'll be somewhat happy. I definitely want to add something here, but I think I'll just take care of that with the dimensionals that I add. I say dimensionals, with the embellishments that I add to the card, which again will probably be minimal. I feel like I already have a lot going on with the wreath here, so I don't want to overwhelm this card with looking junky. So I just wanted to come on and show y'all how it looks. So I'm just taking this Copic multi-liner and just somewhat mimicking these lines here, and also just kind of drawing whatever, just to make it look a little I don't really know what I'm doing. Just making a little neat and scattered. That's kind of how it looked anyhow, if you're looking at this. And you saw that I did have to use my liner to go over the ink. So what happens when you use Distress Oxide over ink, it basically absorbs it. I wanted to see what bats looked like and if I could put bats here. So I took my Distress Oxide background that I had blended just for giggles, and I stamped my bats in Memento ink onto here, and look at that. Literally the oxide absorbed the ink. It's hilarious, and you can see the difference between no oxide, oxide. So when you put oxide over an image, you have to be very careful, because literally you're going to have to go over that area with a multi-liner or something similar to get that image to come back. Shreds, 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 shreds. Literally, this is just me hobnobbing. Is hobnobbing a word? So I do like the extra that I'm doing. I'm gonna go out just a tiny bit more, but I'm not gonna, you know, do a ton, because it's not, I don't think all of it's necessary, but I'm getting basically that grassy look that I wanted earlier, that I wasn't sure of how to get. And like I said, I don't think I'm an artist at all. The good thing with this is that it literally just is kind of, it's kind of just, it already started off being like kind of scribbles-ish, just a little bit, so that was kind of nice. It just looks so plain. I just couldn't just let it be just that. All right, so I think that's better, definitely better. And we'll see when I put the card together. Again, I just wanted the, you know, just some grass, a little bit of a field area, just a little bit, without overwhelming the card. So I'm kind of happy. You know, again, once we do things, we always kind of second guess ourselves. Like, I'm second guessing doing my sentiment here in white. I'm like, why don't I use a different color? But I feel like white is appropriate for this. Like, that's what I want to use. I've worked too hard on this card, and I've put it to the side, obviously, because I've had no time to play with it. But I kind of now just want to be done with it, and I don't want to sit it to the side any longer. I want to complete this card, and then if there's anything that I would do differently, I definitely want to remake this and incorporate those changes, like having something in the sky, but I do feel like it's okay. I just think that I'm overthinking and I'm a little tired. So I need to stop overthinking and smile, which I'm doing, and enjoy that I actually got most of what I wanted in my head onto paper and just put it together. I'm finally happy. Oh gosh, it took so long. All right, so if you don't notice, I actually decided to go through with this black, the basic black Stampin' Up! Ink spot. I got this from like one of the paper pumpkin kits. And I decided to go over the Distress Oxide Black Soot just because the color was just throwing me off way too much. As you can see on my little scrap sheet of paper here, this is what it looked like after the black had oxidized because it's a Distress Oxide. And then I took the basic black Stampin' Spot. I'm sure I could use Memento ink. It would have been fine also. And I was like, you know what? I think I just want like a true black because this was just killing me. But the scattered straw I absolutely love. So I got my little brush here and tested it out, and then I just like went for it, and I absolutely love this so much more. It just, I finally have like that dark sky that I wanted originally, but I really didn't mind the two colors that I had before, the scattered straw with the black soot. But I think I'll do that for another time, another card with different I want to say it ephemera. I mean, that's basically what we're making, but different pieces. But because I'm taking those holly leaves, but because I'm taking the Poinsettia petals and using them as an embellishment, I just think the black helps everything just tie together more. So I am very happy with this. I'm just giving it a gander up top. And I'm going to go ahead and finally complete my card. I'm also not doing what I originally planned on doing, which was having the holly leaves in a wreath form. Decided against that. The circle that I used to cut this out, I also cut out a piece of black cardstock, and then I just trimmed off the bottom just to continue the snow globe, even though it's not supposed to be a snow globe look. And I'm so glad I have the day out. I've just been working at just trying to figure out what is wrong with this card, and I haven't moved on to anything else. I'm like, I need to figure this out. I need to figure this out. What is wrong? What's going on here? And I'm very happy. So happy that I'm actually about to fix this piece onto the cardstock so I don't change my mind anymore. But really, it took me a long time to get to this point with this card. And I'm trying to think, have I ever made a Halloween card? I think this is my first Halloween card that I've made ever. Now, I do love Halloween. I was actually talking to somebody the other day about my favorite Halloween costume. I was one of you guys remember the Pussycat Dolls, the cartoon with the three ladies? And the black one, she had blue hair. Well, I dyed my hair blue. I had like blue streaks in the front, and I was her for Halloween one year, and it was pretty righteous. Absolutely loved it. I'll actually post a picture if I can find it. Just gonna fix this, but I'm gonna try to be careful. Well, look at that. Okay. And my normal. I just liked how I colored this house. I just didn't want to ruin that. Oh my gosh. Finally. So much work. And I do like how the sky's a little shimmery. There's so much ink on this. This was built up so much. There's so much Distress Oxide, black soot behind this black Stampin' Up ink spot color that I used. It's hilarious that the color actually stayed on top. And this is just making it. I don't mind that it's little snow globe is hanging off over the edges of my two mats. It barely makes the whole A2 size card, so that's hilarious. All right, so now we're going to take these pieces that I worked so darn hard on, and we're going to place these. It's going to look like this. They're so cute, and I'm so glad I'm still using them. Just put a few on top of one another. Push this up a little bit. Oh my goodness, this card is like, it's so perfect. Now I just need to figure out a sentiment placement on this card. And I was thinking that I'll do like something like this. Jeepers. All right. Because I know I'm going to leave this like this, I'm going to go ahead and place this on my card. Because one thing I've learned is that I work a lot faster and better if I do what I know I like. And I know that this is good here, so I'm going to go ahead and put that down. And I really tried to do this whole card on camera for you guys by attaching all the videos, like all the videos. Okay, so one, I really want to keep this in the right spot. So what I'm going to do is hold it and actually draw a line, since it's going to be covered anyways. So I can use that line to place this. And it takes up enough space, so I'm going to just put some tape down. But I'm not only going to use the tape to keep it down, I'm going to use some glue. Because this piece is kind of heavy. So this was probably my most challenging card. And I'm very happy that I finally have it done. What's funny, it's not even for anyone in particular. Okay, so now I'm going to place this, down here. Push this over so the sides are good. See, look at that. Like, I literally have very small amount of space. It's insane. Just going to press this like so. Okay. And these sides are up a little bit, and that's fine. Oh, it's so nice. I like it. I need to figure out what I'm going to put on the inside of this. Okay, and now I'm just going to figure out how I'm going to put these poinsettia pieces down. I'm so tired. So tired. Right. Now this one's going to go here. What's funny is I don't know how well this glue works with the Distress Oxide, so just for it's fun, huh? That tape really came up. Just for security's sake. So using a little bit of tape. I think that that'll be nice. The one thing about being a crafter, it's you just want to make sure everything's secure. There's nothing worse than having things that don't stay and all that jazz. Actually, look, this one here. Oh, snap. Why did I do that? Too much pressure. That one had a bit too much glue right here. And I could actually see some of that scattered straw. Some of that color came up a little bit with the glue. But it's okay, because you gotta remember, we're card makers. Nothing is perfect. And it's not that noticeable, thank goodness. All this is, but okay. Whoops. Just gonna use this to get up a little bit of that glue. Not glue, tape. Got something on here. Like, the worst thing is having white glue and you can see. I have some, I don't know what this is on that card, but I want it gone. So I do like the little edge here. This here and put this one here. That'll look nice. I think I like that. And I don't like everything like going in the same direction. Little varieties, nice. I think I have all those pieces. So many pieces, but that's okay. I don't mind at all. All the leftovers are going to make for another good card, so. Just looking over this. Just make sure I'm putting this last piece exactly where I want it to go. I think turning it upwards would be nice, just because it kind of goes with a circle. That'll look nice. Yep, I'm just gonna do that. So then I'll just put this one here. That one there. Do I even need this middle one? Yes, actually I do need that one, because this helps make this look more rounded. little different from what I expected a little, but I still like it. Again, figuring out different uses for stuff. There we go. I think that's good. Okay, let me stick this one down. Okay, and then this piece. Oops, pressed a little too hard. All right, I think that's good. Yeah, so weird. It just looks different. It's very different. These leaves are different from what I imagined they would be, you know, used on, but I like it. Now, I can't believe I did it. I'm finally done. After popping this up, I'm like, oh, I really, really like the look. You can kind of see it there. I am so happy with this card, finally. And I'm finally so excited to be done with it. Yep. And I love how you can see the texture here. Ah, so lovely. And I cannot wait to work on the second card that I have in mind based off of the scraps that I have from this one. Man, what a pain in the butt. That was just so much thinking. So much thinking. Goodness, really tested myself. All right. Bye, you guys.